Hey everyone, Dan at Ochiko Bushcraft. Well, I'm out here on the high desert today, about 30 miles out. It was snowing just a few minutes ago. In fact, it was snowing really good. And that's the way it's been all morning. There's been snow flurries and then stop and then snow flurries. But I'm out here doing a field test today of something that Mark at Sagebrush Customs made for me. Now, if you flip back through my videos, it wasn't too long ago that I did a video. I think it was titled In the Woods with Sagebrush Customs or something similar. But Mark up at Sagebrush Customs does a lot of work for me on knives, putting on 90-degree spines and putting on a patina for me, custom made handles and so forth. Well, Mark called me last week and he said that he had made a striker for a ferro rod that would throw more sparks than any striker I'd ever used. It'd outperform the back of my knife. It'd outperform all of these strikers that come with these different ferro rods, hacksaw blades, so forth. So I am out here going to field test. This is the Spark from Sagebrush Customs. I've got it hanging on a piece of parachute cord right now. I can hang it around my neck. I can also wrap this around it, put it in my knife sheath or whatever. This particular one, Mark, rather than, he could have put on my card handle or whatever, but on this one, he actually wrapped it in Gorilla Tape, because if you tear strips of this Gorilla Tape off and ruffle it up into, a little tinder ball, fine threads of it, it'll take a spark and it makes a good tinder source. But I can tell you that holding it like this is very comfortable in the hand. So this is Rockwell hardness of 62 on a tool file that Mark actually turned into a striker for a ferro rod. He said because of that hardness, that 62 Rockwell hardness, it will really throw sparks like nothing I've ever used. So we're going to give it a little field test. I brought, an assortment of ferro rods and an assortment of strikers. So let's go ahead, start with this. This is just one of the standard military style ferro rods. And it comes with a striker like this. Try to get situated a little better where you guys can. And I'm not getting hardly anything here with the. So this is the factory striker, and I'm not getting very many sparks, and it's hurting my fingers. It's not comfortable to use at all. This is the striker that came with the Uberleben. Much better. But still very uncomfortable in my hand. And this is a small piece of a hacksaw blade which came with another ferro rod. And it's not doing a whole heck of a lot either. Okay, let's try the Spark from Sagebrush Customs. This has a very sharp edge on it. I tell you one thing advantage right now is it's very comfortable to hold. Now, just so you know, and there's no way you could really tell without being here, I'm not pushing down on this rod near as hard as I did with the others. The others I was having to really dig in to get any sparks. I'm very lightly pushing. And when I increase the pressure, that's definitely an improvement. Try it on another rod here. This one is brand new, hasn't even been used yet. Scrape that off. All right, let's try some of these other strikers again. not getting much of anything here with this one. This thing here is just worthless. Here's the Uberleben striker. It does pretty good, other than it's just uncomfortable to use. And that little hacksaw blade, it's just not doing much either. All right, the spark. Yeah, look at the difference. Wow. That's amazing. All right, my favorite, the big Uberleben. This is the one that I always carry in my knife sheath. You can see, and it's been used quite a bit. So, in fact, we've seen how shoddy these two little strikers perform. So I'm not even going to test those. It's cold out here. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to get a fire going shortly. Okay, here's the Uberleben that came with the Uberleben. And it gets sparks, but not a whole lot. So let's try the spark. Yep. That's just a big difference. And it's so much more comfortable to hold. And kind of nice thing being wrapped up in Gorilla Tape is I have an emergency tinder. All right, I like it. And I like the way he made it. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna carry this for a while in my knife sheath, along with my ferro rod. Use it for a while, but initial tests, I like it. And I'll put the how to get a hold of Mark at Sagebrush Customs. I'll put his email address in the comments. So read down through the comments, and there'll be a comment from Ochiko Bushcraft, and I'll have his email address. He does custom sheaths, custom knife work, makes different handles, wide variety of things. Quick tip, and then I'm going to show you guys where I'm at, because I'm actually in a really cool area and I got something super cool to show you. When you're out here on the high desert, I am surrounded by juniper and sagebrush. Even though it's been raining and even though it has been snowing out here, when you come up to a decent sized sagebrush bush, you'll usually have branches that kind of grow out at an angle. You know, rather than straight up and down, some of them will come and they'll curve up 45 degrees. Some will curve and go parallel with the ground. If you reach underneath of those and start pulling off strips of the sagebrush bark, it will be dry underneath. It will have collected a lot of moisture on top and be damp. There'll still be spots underneath that is dry. So when you're out here on the high desert, you get you a little tinder bundle of the sagebrush bark and then start tearing it up. I like to do it by just turning it inside out over and over. And I'm trying to get a whole bunch of little fine fibers, little hair-like fibers standing up that will catch a spark. Okay. This is a great emergency fire starting source anytime you're on the high desert. I've got some fine fibers tore up here. Let's see if it's enough to get fire. Here we go. Yep. So when you are out on the high desert like this, again, Central Oregon high desert, and you're surrounded by sagebrush, you can get into that bark. I'll have to restart this one, get it down in here a little bit better maybe. But this is a great tinder source. I should have gathered a lot bigger ball. If I was gonna use this for fire, I'm actually gonna move to a different location for my fire. That's why I didn't gather a bigger one. Okay, let's try that again. Make a few shavings down in here, and come on. There we go. It's something that I have to baby a little bit. Keep. There we go. That's what I was after. Yeah, so set this down on the ground, start breaking up fine twigs, brush, so forth, and get me a fire going if I was going to stay here, but I'm not going to stay in this area. But what I am going to do, I want to give you guys a look around of where I am. Okay, as I said, I'm about 30 miles out on the high desert. And I can only tell you the story that I've been told. I have no way of verifying it. But what I have been told is that, I don't know, somewhere between 75 years ago, roughly, I would guess. It could be longer, it could be a little shorter, but it's been a long, long time. Somebody who was very wealthy came all the way out here in the middle of the desert and built what at that time I guess would have been a small mansion. And he intended to live out here. Across the hill behind me, you see that big hill? Way up there in the trees, there's actually the remains of an old cistern. So he would collect water in the cistern up on this hill and then gravity flow it all the way down here to his house, which is just off the camera. Well, after, like I said, I don't know, it could be close to 100 years, 75 years, whatever it is, the old parts of the old mansion still stand. It's nicknamed the Old Smith Mansion. I don't know for sure if the guy's name was Smith. My understanding is he built this house, got it all set up and everything, brought his wife out here. She didn't like it, so he just packed up and left. That's it. So, and left what he had built standing. All right, so I'll take you guys for a walk. So part of the wall here is still standing. Kids have come out here and spray painted on it over the years. But we're on the outside. This would have been one part of one wall. Big window right there. And right here, we're going to go down inside there, but right here's the backside of where a fireplace would have been. And part of another wall here. And you guys can look down inside of it. You can see kind of the remains of where different rooms were, some different walls. There would have been another window over there. Part of a concrete floor down in there. And we're gonna walk around and go inside. I just thought it'd be really cool to take you guys out here because, like I said, we're about 30 miles from town, way out in the desert. Lots and lots of twisty, windy back roads to get in here. So you can see there was some kind of a floor here. And we're inside now, what would have been, as I've been told, the old Smith Mansion. So there's the inside of that wall. Somebody's painted a vehicle of some sort where the big window was. It would have been neat to have seen this when it was standing and seen how it was set up in here. Obviously, there was a big fireplace right here. So they were heating, and there's been people out here who've had a fire in here. And there was some kind of a stairway it. I don't know what it went up to. if it kept going up at one time or what, but there was a stairway right there. And for me, I think the coolest thing is they had a big cement bathtub built right into the house. And you can see the old cement bathtub is still here. Anyway, so I said I just thought it would be cool to bring you guys out here and show you this. But yeah, the Spark from Mark, Sagebrush Customs, I think it's a pretty cool little setup. I like using the back of my knife, but having an extra little striker along is also really nice, and that is very comfortable to use, and it's small and convenient. And there's times where I've had to build a fire and get down out of the wind and stuff, and trying to use my big knife in a small confined area isn't that easy, and that little Spark striker would be very handy. Having the Gorilla Tape on it to use as an emergency source of tinder, and it really does throw a lot of sparks. It works quite well. So I think I'm going to throw that in my knife sheath and start carrying it and test it for a while, and if my opinion changes, I'll let you know. But right now I really like what he did. So anyway, out here on the high desert, field testing, checking out the old Smith Mansion. I'm going to drive on down this valley behind me and head up out of this canyon. I'm in the bottom of a canyon, and just enjoy the day exploring and having a good time. Thanks for watching Ochiko Bushcraft. Take care, everyone.